Welcome. As you can see, you, I think, are our only person outside of the rest of us who are the organizational team. Well, Brian, I include you as the organizational team. You've been with us doing this work. And I'm just going to now put the agenda that we have in the chat. So welcome to the first chapter meeting, and maybe we will maybe introducing ourselves first actually is the best thing. I was going to do the opening meditation. We can see I can do a very short form of that perhaps, but again, Jenny knows me, so I am here today, Melinda, as board member of Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light, as a concerned citizen of NEPA, as a person of faith. I guess that goes with my other, I don't know, and just eager to get this organization here established. So I will hand it off to Brian. You're in my top left corner, so I'm gonna
All right, that's fine. I'll be in the top left corner. So I'm Brian Dugas. I am the current president of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Wyoming Valley here in Luzerne County, working with people down in Luzerne County. I know that it's important to them. They just don't know it yet. But in the conversation, I will talk some more about some of the things that I did this last week to try and get things moving down here. So, I don't know how much of a background you want. I could go on and on and on for days with that, but we'll skip that.
Brian. Sister Donna, I'm going to go around in a circle now.
Okay, I'm Donna Korba. I'm a sister of IHM, and I also serve on the board of PAIPL, and I also head up our IHM Sisters Office of Justice, Peace, and Integrity of Creation, and our Earth Care Committee as well.
Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily Holtzmaster. I just graduated from Marywood University with a degree in biology, and I am currently studying for the LSAT. I'm hoping to go to law school to pursue environmental law. So
good for you.
And Haley.
Hello, I'm Haley Brundage. I am a current Marywood student, and I am also a fellow working with PAIPL in the Scranton area.
Excellent. And Rabbi Daniel.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Daniel Swartz of Temple Hesed. I'm a former board president of Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light. And these issues are near and dear to my heart. So.
And Jennifer. Introduce yourself to all the rest.
I'm Jennifer Olstead. I'm a concerned citizen as well, and I want to learn more about how I can help.
All right, thanks, Jenny. So on the agenda, I had an opening meditation. Are people interested in doing that? Just to kind of set,
Yes.
Okay, to set the our tone here. This is a much shortened loving kindness meditation. So it's cultivating kind of this continuous flow of loving kindness through ourselves and outwards. So it's a practice of receiving and sending forth loving kindness to support us in our environmental work today. I'm kind of focusing on, the meditation is at its root Buddhist, but it has voices, mostly in a longer version, of other traditions kind of weaved through it. So if you would just kind of close your eyes, make yourself comfortable, or just lower your eyelids a little bit, and root yourself in or connect yourself to the earth in your way. Keep your neck and back straight, that you can breathe easily, and just relax into the gift of life with each breath and heartbeat as you become aware of them. Take notice of the elements, the earth that holds you, inside and out, the solidity of your body, earth beneath your feet, the water that flows through your veins and sits just below the surface of the earth, the air element moving in from the west, passing through your nose and mouth, the fire that is burning in the sun and your own bodily digestion, and space element that you occupy. Now bring your awareness to the 6 directions, to the east of the rising sun, the south with its continuous light, the west of the setting sun, an invitation to the darkness of the moon and the womb, to the north of the winter wind. Then we direct our attention up, extending into the solar system, the galaxy, and the whole universe, and down deep into the layers of the Earth's continental and oceanic crust, deeper still into the mantle, solid and molten, and even deeper still into its core, also molten and then solid, and nearly 4,000 miles below us. Breathe deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth, and then relax into a breathing pattern in rhythm with your own body. The 12th century monastic Saint Hildegard of Bingen writes, "Human beings are the thinking heart, called to be co-creators with God in shaping this world." So let us ponder this call to be cooperative shapers of the world who nurture the web of life for now and for our future generations. Turning our attention to our hearts, say silently to yourself, allowing the words to reach every cell of your body and to fill your sacred place. May we be well, may we be happy, and may we be free from pain and worry. I want to take a moment to receive the loving kindness. If you just keep your eyes closed, visualize yourself as receptive and open. Perhaps you're lying down on the earth, looking up at a clear sky, floating in the ocean, standing at a mountain peak. This vastness is teeming with life, and this life sees you. Remain open and receive. Be recognized and feel life sending you well-being and happiness. Take in this loving kindness being poured over you always and constantly. Allow it to fill you, again, reaching every cell of your body and overflowing your whole being. And listen to nature's voice say to you, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be free from pain and worry. And just as I wish to, may you be safe, may you be healthy, and may you live with joy. Now, as you receive this loving kindness, turn it outward and let it flow through you and send it to the diversity of life on the planet. Turn your heart toward one of these precious lives out there and allow this loving kindness to flow through you back into this life form. And wish it, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be free from pain and worry. And just as I wish to, may you be safe, may you be healthy, and may you live with joy. And to continue to receive from the outside and send out from yourselves, sending loving kindness to for the forgotten, the marginalized, and the poor. Send your wishes of loving kindness so that we all can be happy and to live a life with clean air and water, healthy and fresh food, in a home that is built safely and poses no danger to your well-being. May we think of those difficult people for whom we may have strong judgments and feelings and negative opinions, to those who consign people, predominantly people of color, to live in this pollution, breathing and drinking in the filth, for those who continue to wish and continue to extract fossil fuels. May we send them also and realize that they are people like us, sending loving kindness, that we have share in our desire for happiness and to have a life of clean air and water, healthy and fresh food in a home that is built safely and poses no danger to our well-being. From the loving kindness being poured into you, that you receive from all life on the planet, and that you allow to flow through you, in return, allow this loving kindness to move toward these people, all these people, and to all life on the planet. And say, just as I wish to, may you also live with joy and happiness. May you be safe, may you be healthy, and may you be free from pain and worry. And may we have the courage to hear the cry of the earth, the cry of the poor and marginalized, the cry of all life on this planet, and to accept the science before us and act with it. Amen.
That was beautiful, Melinda. You know, I know before the tree planting that you said that you hadn't really been done liturgy for a while, but I think you need to. I think there's a poetic liturgical part that really is just beautiful.
I hope it wasn't too rushed. I know I don't want to take too much time, but thank you. So we did our introductions and the opening meditation. We do have a couple of polling questions. Jenny, maybe you will all do it. And there's some good starting questions. And the open-endeds don't have, they actually didn't have a possibility to open-ended response. So maybe we can just write down in our own place where we are some responses to them, but I did put the questions up there. So let's just take a moment to look at the first one. Well, actually, I think you can go through all of them. Am I correct? Actually, I don't know how you see it. Yep. Okay. So if we can just respond to those, and then we can start our conversation afterwards with it. Sorry, I thought we talked about having some nice music here, but I now did not have any.
I've got a Yiddish poem and song about the trees sleeping and starting to awaken that I could put on in the background if you enjoy that.
It's right there. Go ahead. And I'm not sure how much longer people will need. My poll is there.
In Tropensteute fällt der Heune von Gras und Blumen, von Gras und Blumen. Und wer es will, kann sehen, das edelige Spiel von schwarzem Feuer, von blauem Silber. Darum auftritt, zerlegte schlafen Bäume, darum auftritt. schlafen bei mir. Rund darum auf Dreh, so leid schlafen bei mir. Rund darum auf Dreh, schlafen bei mir. Die Schatten wachsen in der Hecht, die Luft ist hier weg. Wie Trug im Wasser, die Schatten wachsen in der Hecht, die Luft ist hier weg. Wie Trug im Wasser.
Thank you. I'm wondering, did I cut somebody off from their poll? Okay. I thought maybe I counted wrong. I think I wasn't able to take part because I made it. And then I counted. All right.
I couldn't see the multiple choice options for 3 and 4.
Well, there really weren't. So I should have just taken those off. I didn't know how to make it. That was just the question that you could think of. They were supposed to be open-ended, but there wasn't an option to create a question open-ended and even just put in a couple words. So they were really there. What strengths and knowledge could you bring to this interfaith environmental coalition, so that if people can think about that and offer that in our conversation. And then whatever the multiple choice maybe didn't bring up that you would like to see the coalition do, was really for number 4. Daniel, do you want to, can you see the results?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to?
Sure. So it seems like we're interested in a little bit of everything in terms of what we want to learn more about. The highest votes to spiritual wisdom and resources, regenerative, agricultural, environmental bills, policies and regulations, and natural history of NEPA, but everything got at least some votes, including the electric vehicles and renewable energy. And then in terms of activities, we all put down habitat restoration. Greg's heart will be tickled. Tree planting, invasive species eradication, etc. And then everything else got some votes, with the exception of the book club. I guess we're feeling a little overwhelmed, but some interest in outreach and hikes and interfaith dialogue and spiritual care and support. And the second most, which I think is a good sign for us, is attending chapter meetings with educational component. We were thinking about explicitly doing that going forward, that each of the meetings would not just be a meeting, but would be a chance to learn and do something as well. So that seems like people agree with that vision.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'm wondering, Jenny, did you want to, the rest of us have actually all been in meetings somewhat together at some point or another. Did you want to share? I know this is anonymous, but would you feel comfortable sharing what you particularly might be interested in?
I was interested in, you know, the hikes and tree planting, eradication of, you know, invasive species.
Okay.
That I would like to focus on.
Thank you.
I'm hearing some feedback.
Yeah, I just muted. I think did I just mute Donna?
But I'm having one on my phone now because I couldn't get off of mute on my iPad.
Oh.
And I was doing the poll and it wouldn't let me submit. So
Okay.
I'm sitting on my phone now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing that. Is there anything that may not have been up there at all that you would be interested in a group like this doing? Any ideas of your own that you would want to bring to it?
I haven't really thought much about it, honestly. I'm new to this. So
Okay.
I'd be open to ideas though.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. And Jenny has been like eager from the moment that I found out about you. So I'm very excited that you're here.
Thank you.
So I am going to go ahead and stop sharing the poll. On my window, it takes up a big spot and I can't see your lovely faces. So. And let me just do that one too. So in this conversation part, do we, I know, Brian, you said you had something particular that you wanted to bring up, but then this is kind of a place where we can, taking the ideas that we just saw through the poll, also, how can we kind of make steps toward making them happen? Like, how do we want to materialize them? But Brian, maybe if you have something already set to go.
Certainly. So I spoke to the Peace and Justice Center, and well, it seems like we were talking that a lot of people are zoomed out, and to me, this environmental work is not necessarily zooming anyways. I don't think that this is meeting the needs of the people. It's sort of hard to get faith leaders down here in Luzerne County to get engaged with this thing. I went to the Gather community event, and they're doing all kinds of things in the community. I asked them how about environmental things? He says, well, that's not really on our radar. But so Thursday, when you were having the meeting, I was out doing a meeting with a gentleman. He's an outdoorsy guy. He actually ran community gardens in Wilkes-Barre. His name is Jeremy Connor. And he likes to talk wading through rivers and climbing over trees and things like that, all scratched up, tick bitten. However, he is interested in community gardens and bringing that back again. And I know that Pennsylvania Interfaith Power and Light actually provided support for a community garden project in Wilkes-Barre. So what I'm attempting to do next week, and I've been emailing them back and forth, is to connect Jeremy Connor. And Jeremy has all kinds of environmental friends, climbers. And by the way, he was saying that that area down there where the Nacero plant is going to be is a significant climbing. Well, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this. Anyways, so what I'm going to attempt to do next week is to bring this concerned group of people. They're not necessarily faith leaders, but they are organization runners, they're CEOs, they own businesses, and try and bring them together with this Wilkes-Barre Community Garden Group and see if we can't get something, I think down here, we really need to get our hands dirty. We need to start digging in the dirt and get people engaged so that they can see the value of, the environmental connection. So that's my thoughts anyways, and that's what I'm hoping to do in the near future.
No, thank you for that. Actually, it kind of reminds me of a conversation that Jenny and I had yesterday on our hike. She was asking me how to maybe get the masjid, the mosque up here, involved. And recently when I was there for planting trees, they have like 3 other acres at least of forest on there that they don't use. And I thought maybe this is what we could do, like as a project, maybe to bring people of the masjid into this work, is to clear a nice trail, to put some signs up there of either verses from the Quran, but make it accessible, to plant the garden, plant the trees with them, and to talk about, but just to bring them there and to kind of make this place a livable space, a teaching space, a spiritual space, and a space that can be motivating for further action.
Yeah.
But again, some of this active work.
You're talking about that sort of gives me the idea that one of the things that we will be searching for the community gardens, if we're ever, is land to put a community garden on.
Yeah.
And maybe at a mosque, and certainly our church, we could do a community garden and actually go and sort of in that way bring in the interfaith, and bring community organizations and the interfaith community together on community gardens topic.
I think from a real heart perspective, I think that's a great way to invite younger people as well. Sometimes younger people need a real concrete, in a sense, project to get them hooked. But when they realize, and working together is very non-threatening, as you're planting, as you're working, and many young folks are looking for service, whether it's from their school, from their churches, whatever. But I think if you get them hooked, when I say hooked, their heart's hooked on something, and then it can develop into other things. But I agree. I think the practical, a community garden, and then you educate as you're working, and people begin to understand why, and things begin to grow from there, whether it be advocacy, whether it be more spiritual things, whatever. But I would agree.
Are you having a big echo, Danielle?
You know what, that's me. You know what, I'm trying to be on my phone and I can't get my iPad even turned off. I'm in another room. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put myself on mute and try to disconnect over there.
Actually, Jenny, I wanted to actually bring you into this a little bit with some of the conversation we had yesterday also with your daughter, with Samiha and her work, and then maybe some of the work you do, just as different modalities of healing and with the earth, and using, so Jenny's daughter works with special needs children, but if that would be a place too, that gardening and outdoor, I don't know like what their curriculum is, but even professionally too, with just using, of leaning into the earth as a healing piece for us as people in this region. I don't know, it's just something that popped into my mind right now, listening to Donna speak about hearts and young people.
Yeah, I think that would be great if she would maybe talk to her boss or something and just teach the kids, because I think there's ages 2 through 5 or 6, I think, and just teach the kids and have some kind of curriculum on environmental stuff, just on things that they can understand, but just to plant that seed, so to speak. So I
But even
think,
in
yeah,
your work, yeah, even in your work as a counselor, just to use who you are to think about how to do this work also.
mhm.
Keep it in mind, and the environment as healing rather than the source of anxiety and that sometimes we get in this work, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually tried to change from residential to commercial in order to have people come,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't work out too well. They were
Okay.
so against it, and I don't understand why, because it's a healing place.
Yeah.
So
So
that was really
Jenny,
upsetting.
yeah, her property is gorgeous, and I've only seen pictures now.
A lot.
But it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a healing place, it looks like.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that was upsetting, that the township, but I'm trying to plant trees, so I will too integrate eventually. I'm not sure how it's going to look like, but the mental health part of it with the healing earth
yeah.
as
Oh,
well.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Eventually, yeah. So we'll see how that. They can't tell me I can't bring people here.
Right.
So I'm trying to grow more trees. You heard about my husband's apple trees. He's so proud. And all the other trees that we're planting here. So it's really exciting. And I want to grow that from here to other areas as well.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I know we didn't want to go to take up the whole hour to kind of keep this compact. Is there anything that for our chapter, what we want to talk about right now, or move on to some little action that we can do, or bigger action, actually?
I do have a question though. So with the environment, anything about animals, wild animals, and anything involved with that, like helping, saving, creating environments for animals?
Are you asking if we do that, or?
Hmm.
Yeah, so that is definitely within the purview. I guess when we're talking about the environment, we haven't done actually anything like that. But in some ways, I almost can see that, again, except for the Doug Tallamy talk, kind of actually integrates all of that together. So the planting, I think there was reference to that when we were doing the trees. He kind of started out the month. The reason we're planting the trees and native trees is because they have evolved with the flora and fauna of this region, including from insects to bringing the birds to bringing, so it's interconnected here. But I almost see that you're asking that question actually reveals perhaps a gift and an interest that you have, an answer to one of those other open-ended questions about bringing to this group, a passion of yours that you could bring and help lead us on to. I don't know if the others have something as a response.
So what do you think when you're talking about, so saving, working with a particular species, or developing habitat, or protecting habitat? What exactly were you thinking about when you're talking about the animal?
Developing and protecting habitats.
Habitats?
Mhm.
I think it's
That
just all
certainly gets it, yeah.
connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected,
Mhm.
I think that's certainly in the realm of everything we hope to be about. It's all connected.
Actually, if you say habitat, I mean, part of habitat restoration is that it's part of an interconnected, it's part of the fauna life. But I wasn't sure too, because I know you have a lot of interests in animals in general. They have horses and dogs and cats, and if that is even part of, I'm sure probably rescue and all of that is probably in there, in your mind, because I know you have a big heart that way.
We're coming to your house, Jennifer.
You're all welcome.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely something to keep in mind and bring to this group, and perhaps that is a place where you could help take the lead in that
Right.
way.
And right. Also with, you know, what species need to be, you know, developed more in the areas? Is there kind of, I don't know, like sometimes salamander, you know, that is, they're lacking in certain areas, or what, you know, how to bring them back, or birds, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually there's a bird guy that we could even come and talk to us about that here.
David
that-
Trent. David
I'm
Trentley.
sorry.
David Trentley.
No, but he's another person as well. But someone, he's at the U, actually. He has an active research project going on at Lackawanna, but very much knows in watching the migratory birds in this area. And then also, anyway, there's more, I could just go on about this. So, but yes, but salamander, there's all these species too that we would like to see flourish here again. I mean, I would even put in bobcats, and there are species that can flourish with us. And but anybody else?
So
Thank
to
you
me,
so much for that, Jenny.
In these early phases of trying to bring this organization together, get people involved, it seems to me, and what I'm trying to do is to create partnerships, to find people that are currently working in that, bring them in, and you know, the educational component that you talked about. Like, I've learned a lot about plastics now because of a plastics class that I'm in, and this is something but I didn't know about that 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about it. Now it's sort of like a critical thing, and something I definitely want to share with others. But what I'm trying to do is form partnerships down here with people that are actively engaged in these things, so I can learn more, so I can share more, I can bring people into the fold.
I think partnerships is going to be key. And perhaps provides a structure of doing things that then we can try to invite people to, like to make those, to try to make that faith connection then with these groups, to bring in people of faith with something to do, right? I think that might be key in getting people involved and here with us. And then eventually for these organizations, we have people to help them, right? In their work, to use those partnerships. It's 12:42, so I thought maybe we could actually we have Haley here just to tell us quickly about an action that we can take, a petition that's out there. So would you like to do that now, Haley?
Yeah, so the petition that Melinda is talking about is called CASPER, and it is the Cross-State Air Pollution Rule, and it is also known as the Good Neighbor Rule. Currently, the EPA is considering this rule, so if it is enacted, this could help reduce air pollution from power plants and industrial facilities, and we would use different existing technologies to help fight this air pollution from these different sources. So I could put the petitions in the chat. There is a grass tops one and a grassroots one, and I will also put a Google Doc in the chat that kind of explains a little bit more of what it is. You're on mute.
Thank you. I don't do that because I usually forget to mute, actually, is my issue. Are these petitions that we are just going to sign who we are and that, or are they ones that need us to develop a kind of a response, like a composed response?
So I believe you could put comments in there, but it's really just putting your name and stuff like that.
Okay, so we could share this actually with other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Who may not be into writing of something more, basically, is what I'm asking. Yeah. Okay.
Not get to my chat from my phone right now. So any chance, maybe Melinda, afterwards, you could send that via my email, because I'm not in my office.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a link to the petitions, I think. I think I only have the info page, maybe. From
Okay,
Haley.
that's
So
okay. Even if you just send me the info page, that's fine.
but Haley, if you can send that all to me, I can make sure all of us here actually just get it in an email.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat now, then email it to you later.
Great. Yeah, and then outside of that, I just wanted to bring people's attention to the bike hike for PAIPL. I have a link in the chat up in the agenda. It's ending this coming weekend. So if you can share it with anybody kind of far and wide, the link is to the actual Scranton participants. So if they want to donate and support the bike hike, either one of the teams that are up there, Brian has one for the Unitarian Universalist community in Wyoming Valley. There is a young person, Scranton Goes Green team from Scranton that is up there. And then Donna and I are just there as singletons. But if you can share that, that would be great. Again, if people aren't in for the long haul of being part of an organization, sometimes they just want to put money toward something that they believe in. So this is hopefully a group maybe people can get behind that way. And then if we all could just commit to having one conversation with, I know all of us are probably having conversation more than that. Again, this is written in thinking that we would have had 20 people here today. So number 3, to commit to talking about climate change or the environment with someone new in the next month. And then the link there, Jenny, is actually for, I think most of us know Catherine Hayhoe, but if you don't, take a quick look. She's a climate scientist talking about how really what is really crucial is just talking about climate change. And she kind of, there's a small, a short TED talk where she kind of gives some pointers about how to do that well. Even with people who may politically right away just say no, a way to kind of get past that barrier and find commonalities and interests to talk about this. Yeah, so those are just a couple of things that I thought of that we could maybe do as an action. And then really just when do we want to meet in June? Is we do a closing.
And we're thinking of doing a different time and something in person.
Yeah, I'm wondering if what do people think? We were definitely thinking of doing a different time after the 5 o'clock time to get maybe a broader group of people. But do we want to do something in person? And actually like something and we were just talking about, in fact. Again, one of the reasons why we chose Zoom was we thought because NEPA is such a broad area, if we are trying to reach out and bring someone, sometimes it's hard to get to a place if you're coming from Honesdale or even Luzerne County up to Scranton or Scranton down to Dallas or something like that. Is it worth having a Zoom still?
We can always do hybrid, and I would be happy to volunteer Temple Hesed as the one downside is it's not great public transit there, but is right off of 81, and so the kind of thing that somebody from Honesdale or from Wilkes-Barre, it's sort of halfway in between those bounds. And so if that would be, if we're talking in the evening about having a speaker on something, it'd be very easy for us to do.
Okay. Does that sound good for people? And then we can have a Zoom aspect, you're saying, from that so that they could, Zoom
in still if they weren't there, and we can hear their, we can see and hear them. So.
Okay.
And for in the future, I certainly could offer the welcoming space at the IHM Center. On good days, we could be outside,
Yeah.
gathering, and depending on what happens with COVID type things,
Right.
or inside.
Yep. And maybe we can even at Temple Hesed do a little something outside. Think of, yeah. Okay. So what time would we want to do, and date, basically? Actually, those are the two important things too.
I am going to be away, God willing, Monday through the 10th in Guatemala. So I'm not around the first week and a half of.
Okay, well, I'm thinking more like about a month from now, so that we can perhaps have that time to gather one or two other people, each of us, that we can get committed to come at least, and maybe even do some advertising this time in the paper as an event.
Yeah. The only day I can't do it in the second half would be June 22nd, which is our annual meeting at the synagogue. But if we wanted to do it that week, the Tuesday or the Thursday, or the 28th or the 30th.
Why don't, oh my gosh. Yeah, this is summer.
29th would also be okay. 28th, 29th, or 30.
Okay. Do we want, I'm gonna say the 30th. Could we do something like that? Is that too far out? No, I think. How does June 30th sound? At 7?
Good.
What day is that, Melinda?
Thursday.
It's a Thursday. Oh, it's a Thursday. 29th, is that better for you, Donna?
No, in the evening, it's fine. It's just
Okay.
I'm doing some mom duty,
Okay.
So it's in the evening, it's June 30th is fine, or whichever of those.
Okay. Why don't we do Thursday, June 30th, and that gives us now a month to do some work about, again, more outreach and networking, and we will kind of figure out what kind of presentation we'll have that evening that we can do also to attract people.
What about the WNEP? They have that list of things in the community that's going on.
We could do that, especially if we come up soon with a topic and a speaker for like a 10-minute educational thing or something.
Yeah. Okay, so perhaps then some of us at this point, I guess some of us can meet before that to organize that. I know. Oh boy. Yeah, we will do that. We will confer about doing that. We don't have to do that part right now. And okay, so June 30th, 7 p.m., a hybrid event at Temple Hesed. Well, at least we have that hybrid event at Temple Hesed. And then I don't want to cut off a closing. Daniel, if you want to lead us in that for our good work today.
Okay, so for those of you who can see the chat up a little bit at the beginning, the bottom of the agenda. This is from a prayer that originally was part of just the Yom Kippur service, and sort of people liked it enough that it became part of the conclusion of every service. It's a prayer that looks forward to a time when things are working the way they're supposed to work. And there's one line in it, L'takein olam b'malchut Shaddai. L'takein olam is to repair the world. It's where the phrase tikkun olam comes from, the healing and repair of the world. B'malchut Shaddai. So in Hebrew, as in Arabic, words have a 3-consonant root, and melech or malka is a king or a queen, but malchut is the abstract notion of that. So and so Arthur Waska likes to translate it as majesty, as something that's not sort of overwhelming, but inspiring, like, majestic mountains. And speaking of mountains, the word Shaddai is one of the names of God that's associated with mountains, but also breasts. The way that he translated that is the majesty of nurture, thinking of both that presence of a mountain and the delight, but also of a breast. So we go back and forth between the Hebrew and the English. The English is healing the world through the majesty of nurture. The Hebrew, Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. And I'll sing it through, and you can join in, obviously on mute, because otherwise it goes crazy on Zoom. But you can, as we go through it a couple times, we'll go back and forth. It should be pretty easy to pick up. And as we sort of use it as a way to think about being inspired to do that, and to see our effort of healing in the world coming from a different place, from a place of nurture and inspiration, and not desperation or anger. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Healing the world through the majesty of nurture. Healing the world through the majesty of nurture. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Healing the world through the majesty of nurture. Healing the world through the majesty of nurture. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Healing the world through the majesty of nurture. Healing the world through the majesty of nurture.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks, Melinda, for pulling this together. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And
Thank you.
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. And we'll see each other at least in a month. Some of you a little bit earlier. Inshallah, God willing. All right.